of buying the team back. It's very important.
So what do you think of the logo?
I don't know that I like it or don't like it. I think it'll just take me a while to get accustomed to it. It feels very hipster, millennial, whatever you want to call it. And I'll tell you, being at the broadcast meetings this year, the term millennial got, I'll say promoted, but I mean shoved down our throats.
Yes.
An incredible amount. And I get it. Hey, that's the demographic that likes this league, and that's who you're catering to. And this logo would seem to, maybe from a design standpoint, do that, though I think that's very subjective. What do millennials all like minimalist art? I don't know. That's painting with a broad brush, it would seem to me. I love the idea, though, of an interactive space within the logo. I think that white space allows people to make this their own, and I think MLS got that right. Or it's an idea that they got right. I don't know that if you do it on your logo, you're inviting some ugly things probably too.
It's very interesting you would say that, because to me that seems to be the big point of derision with the logo is that white space. Go ahead and finish your thought, because a lot of people, that's the part they like the least about it.
Well, to me, it's the ultimate move to cater to a generation of people who know how to do stuff on computers.
Mm-hmm.
And people can drop videos in there or make whatever they want of it. It's in some way giving ownership of the league directly to the individual fan.
Yeah.
It makes you engage with the logo, which in one way is forcing you to engage with the league. I'm not, I know from a design standpoint it may not be the prettiest thing. But from a functionality standpoint, that to me is cool, and I can't imagine that's not why it's there.
And it's a great point, because you're talking to the generation that has to have their voice heard. Feels like their opinion, their voice is just as important as anybody else. So they've got to post it on Facebook. They've got to put a tweet about it. They've got to do it on Instagram. And now you've got a logo where, okay, here's a space for you to have your voice be heard. And even if it's negative stuff, like, there's been some goofs already up about the logo. You're still putting the logo out there, even if you're tweeting it in a negative light. Yeah.
To me, there are some drawbacks. That are things that I thought of. One of the other things that I liked was, kind of the turn of the generation. I've always said, people want soccer to be, when's it going to overtake basketball? It is a generational thing, and I love the fact that the league is addressing this in terms of turn of a generation. I've always said, my kids will grow up going to MLS games.
Yes.
I didn't go to my first MLS game until 1996. I was already 12. Now, I may as well have grown up in it, but that next generation, the generations that are coming, are going to be the ones that push this thing to a place that you and I have dreamt about for a long time. So it's important that they know that, and I like that. But the one thing that to me was a negative is I don't know that I like a team having two logos, if that makes sense. You're in one breath, Don Garber's saying, our stars are our clubs, and our clubs matter, and the individual clubs matter, and now you're splitting their identity almost in two, and you're muddying the brand. I don't know that those two messages are consistent, and I just don't know how that plays out. I'm not saying it's going to be a failure or a bust. Why should DC United have two crests? Why should Columbus Crew have two crests instead of the one that they want to have? And the other thing is the continued push on club and country. The Three Stars Club Country community. Club and country was great in 2014, but that's because there was a World Cup. And I don't know that same refrain carries as much weight moving forward again until 2018. I think 2016 will be different. I think it'll be the first non-World Cup where people, because of Copa America coming here, where people are following the U.S. team in a non-World Cup way. I think that'll be big. But to me, that those two things, maybe leaning on the club and country and the splitting of the logo, were the big questions of the day for me.
Yeah, but
and I know everybody has different questions, but those were my two, kind of like, what?
It's a fair point, and maybe 5 minutes ago, before you laid your millennial, this white space is yours theory on me, which I now love and embrace, I would agree with you. However, to me, I look at that as you're blending that logo, which you just said should be flexible enough to be used in any circumstance. You're blending it back into the club. And, even going further inside, the DC United crest or logo is their logo. That's their badge. But you know what? Here's my secret probation card, my double secret probation. I'm going to throw out the MLS DC United version. That just lets you know that I'm actually even further. I'm in the VIP curtained or the velvet rope area of fandom, and that just lets you know that I'm not just a guy on board for the general purposes. I also know the inside stuff as well. And here's how you know.
Well, yeah, and you know what else it does, and something you and I think have talked about quite a bit off the record is, and this is something everybody who knows MLS and loves MLS and covers it knows. We have too many fans of the teams.
Yes.
We have fans of the teams, and not enough of those care about the rest of the league. The entirety of having all of those teams now fit into a logo that all the other teams have makes you in some way, and I don't know how, but it makes you more aware of the league.
The league,
not DC United and going to a game and having a good time, or Sporting Park and going to a game and having a good time. But, this other team in the league that I like or don't like or hate or love.
Yes.
So it somehow raises the awareness of the entire product as opposed to simply the local product. And that may be worth the muddying of the waters in terms of having two crests. The other thing is the community, which I think, geez, what better week to come out and say, hey, we're a bunch of good guys and we love community than this week. And Garber kind of subtly took a shot at the NFL at the beginning of that press conference. Don't think he didn't. When he locks in on community and what that means to this league and the charitable efforts of his players, it's a very good time to be good guys. And MLS right now, fair or unfair, has a good guy reputation. And to put that in the crest in that third star, I think, is smart, and now it looks like genius.
It's a fraternity for me, being in a DC United fan, but then being a fan of MLS. It's a fraternity, and now this is another way for me if I travel to Houston and see the Dynamo, and I don't wear the DC United badge, but I have the MLS logo with the DC United colors. It's a kind of a secret handshake now where I say, look, I could wear my letters, my fraternity letters, but we're going to do the double secret probation fraternity handshake now. And I'm going to let you know I'm a fan of MLS and I'm rocking DC United. So a Dynamo fan will look at me and go, okay, I see where he's coming from on that.
Yeah, no, there's a little bit more kind of connection in between the fans. And you're right. And that's true for soccer fans in this country.
Yes.
If you say you like soccer in America, you've got a bond with whoever else it is you're talking to.
Yep.
Even though by now we're not that much of a minority. But especially if you say MLS, you really have a quick kind of instant bond. And this crest may be a part of that. My only other thing on the logo and the announcement would be this. At some point, and maybe we're not there yet, and I don't know the answer. Don Garber and his people, the people that drive the game in this country, know it better than I do it. We need to get away from the kind of standing on a podium and making bold proclamations, because to the cynic sports fan, and not that we need to cater to them, but to the people who maybe don't follow soccer, they're not going to necessarily see this and be like, oh, MLS is advancing. They'll see it and say, oh, it's the soccer guys again, banging the drum for something. What, a new logo? Why are we having a multi-million-dollar announcement and release and press conference? What's all this about?
Yes.
There's no actual news. Okay, cool, soccer. Like, keep being weird in the corner.
Yeah,
I never pander to those people, but I do think at some point we need to move past that. Hey, we're here. We've arrived.
Yes.
It's next. It's cool. We're here. Got it. Done. Like, let's not bring it up anymore, because every time we do, we almost validate all the people who are still hanging on to what I think is an antiquated notion that soccer isn't here.
Completely agree, and it goes even further. We can stop putting the versions that we're on. Like, we get it with 2.0. Yes, 3.0 is coming. That's fine. Be the league. Put a good product on the field, and let's go from there. We don't need to have like you said, a press conference or an announcement every few months to say, hey, now we're doing this as well.
Right. Now, if you coupled this with the announcement, like at last year's All-Star Game, of 4 new expansion teams and the goal to get to 24 by 20, then you've got like a substantive announcement. But to do this on its own and then do another, it feels like we have a lot of watershed moments. And the definition of a watershed moment to me is that it doesn't come around all that often.
Yeah, agreed. And, and I will say my thoughts on the logo when I first saw it was it's fine. I mean, it didn't engender any hatred in me or any feelings of love. And also get past what the brand is supposed to mean and all of the corporate speak of what the slash means and all that other stuff. Is it a logo that's fine? And it is fine. And as a first impression, I think fine is really good. And I don't think any other logos throughout the country and throughout the sporting community in the United States are anything that blow you away. It's just what they stand for has become iconic. And if the league becomes iconic, then the logo will become iconic. I also, just on a more casual note, I don't know why they didn't explain what the little kickstand was for. They broke down everything in the logo except for the kickstand.
Yeah, and it's funny. That's the first thing that everybody points out.
Yes.
And everyone's like, hey, I could do without that. If they just took that out, I'd be okay with it. But you know what? It's something different. It's something that people who don't care anything about MLS or soccer will say, hey, what's that about?
Well, can I throw something out?
Yeah.
That line doesn't hold to conventional thinking. It breaks through barriers and what you think you know, and goes into an area.
Were you in on the meeting? Because it sounds like that may be what they're going to tell us. No, maybe it was a mistake by the artist and they just fell in love with it. Sometimes that's one of those things. I don't know. I don't really like you said. It's one of those things where even that unique and kind of quirky thing about the logo, hey, it is different. It's different from every other league logo. It doesn't have a border or a traditional border.
Yep.
And is that going to define what MLS is in 20 years? No, it absolutely is not. It matters not at all. But hey, it's different. People will talk about it now, and if the league does what we've discussed, which is what the NBA and NFL and NHL to a certain extent have done, which is create brands that then the field means something because of the game, then it'll be really cool. And that, that extra line will be beloved. That's the bottom line. The extra bottom line.
I love your white space theory, and it's something that I'm going to grab a hold on with both hands and run with. In fact, we talked to Jossie's artist, and I even said to him, I go, oh, it'll be cool if somebody puts the blonde mohawk in the white space. So subconsciously, I was already on board with you, but you just articulated in such a way that now I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and look, it's a thing that no one else is doing. And it is very much a call to the people who you have, maybe rightly or wrongly, and I don't know if it's right or wrong, but you have really thrown your cards, you've thrown your chips in the pot with the millennials. They've done that. And right or wrong, at least they have an idea, they're going with it, and they're doing that idea right. And that's, I think, all you can ask of a league office is to have a vision and follow it through. Is it the perfect vision? Is it the right vision? We don't know. I can't see the future. But they know that the stats tell them millennials care about this league. And they said, and overwhelmingly so. And they said, well, if that's the case, then we're going to make our decisions based on those people. And this logo absolutely caters to that with the white space.
I'm sure we'll talk to you as the playoffs come around, so I won't bid you adieu for the season. But this is it for our conversation. So, Sebastian Salazar, we'll look forward to seeing you on television, NBCSN. What time's the match tomorrow? Or Friday?
It's really late East Coast. I don't know. I think it's 8 o'clock start here, so it's at 10 where you guys are. But yeah, and it's part of let me do my pitch here, it's part of the triple header this weekend. Portland, Vancouver on NBCSN, and then Seattle and New York on NBCSN. So 3 games in 1 weekend on the mothership.
For a huge loser like myself, those late night Friday games are awesome because I'm not out anyway because I'm a loser, but it also feels like I have something to do, and now I have a reason to tell my friends, nah, I can't hang out. I got to stay home and watch some matches. There's some MLS on.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, and it's one of the things we talk about even with the new TV deal, right? You got to have those games that kind of stand alone.
Exactly.
And are appointment viewing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that RSL Colorado is overwhelming appointment viewing, but I remember doing a game here last year that was RSL Portland. It was appointment viewing. It was a great game in the Western Conference, and it was on a Friday night. And, it gives people a reason to watch at a time where there's a little more in the sports television universe. So it is a good fit on Friday night.
Sebi, thanks, man. We'll catch up with you later on.
Will do. Thanks for having me.
Pitchpass.
This is your voice. This is my red, white, and blue. This is my anthem to you.
For more show information, go to pitchpass.com.